This video series attempts to provide an esoteric analysis of the Holy Scriptures, offering an antidote to the distortions promoted by literalist and uninitiated readings. Rooted in the principles of Empyrean dragon magic and aligned with the Illuminist mission of advancing humanity toward unity through rational spiritual gnosis, the series invites viewers to embark on a progressive, interpretive journey. Each new video builds upon the last, creating a cumulative hermeneutic architecture that reveals the Scriptures as a coded metaphysical narrative for magic and self-realization. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1, verse 10. In the first verse, we examined the act of creation as the divine projection of being into two distinct domains of becoming: the mental, heavens, and the material, earth. Until this point, these domains functioned primarily as metaphysical abstractions, conceptual placeholders rather than fully realized realities. They existed in a state of ideation, comparable to a cosmic womb in which the processes of gestation and differentiation had yet to unfold. With the advent of light and its separation from darkness, the initial stage in the mind's spiritual unfoldment is inaugurated. As previously established, this light represents the illumination of consciousness, signifying spiritual understanding and the emergence of intelligence. Its articulation through the creative word embodies the principle of the Logos, functioning as the primordial act of ordering chaos. Absent this illuminating principle of conscious intelligence, the unmanifest remains inert, unable to enter into manifestation, and the mind itself cannot attain self-realization. In the previous verse, the gathering of the waters beneath the firmament, the waters symbolizing the personal unconscious, revealed the appearance of dry land. This imagery serves as a metaphor for the process by which the fluid potentialities of the unconscious are consolidated into stable psychic formations. These emergent structures function as coherent frequency patterns, representing the first fixed constituents of the evolving self. In the 10th verse, the dry land receives the designation earth. At this stage, the Logos begins its condensation into matter, structure, and geometric crystallization. The gathered waters beneath are named seas, signifying the reservoir of undifferentiated and unconscious frequency patterns. These waters correspond symbolically to the domain of the personal unconscious. The dry land and the waters, or the earth and the seas, provide a tension of stability and fluid potentiality. This polarity is necessary for the manifestation of forms on the earth, the conscious mind. The gathering of the waters is how the unconscious and chaotic contents start to self-organize. Think of sound waves. When these waves vibrate together in harmony, they form a pattern, rather than being noise. Things with similar frequency attract and align, forming domains like ripples merging into one coherent wave. Think of your mind under anxiety. Many conflicting and unconscious thoughts splashing around with no coherence. Nothing gathers, so no stable ground emerges. You feel like you can't stand on anything solid. When you focus, through contemplation, journaling, meditation, or insight, certain thoughts begin to resonate. That resonant theme acts like the waters gathering together. Suddenly, the chaos has a center. From there, dry land appears, a stable insight, a structure in your psyche. Through mathematical relations and syntax, shapes and forms are created, first as concepts within the mind, and then as actual tangible realities. By calling the dry land earth and the gathered waters seas, these metaphysical principles and functions are being consciously recognized and affirmed. There is a conscious understanding of them. While the earth in the first verse stood as the space-time of becoming, it was archetypal and still in potential, as it was formless and void. It is in a state of ideation, a blank canvas that could hold any picture. In the 10th verse, Earth stands as the ground for ego consciousness, where stable and coherent patterns emerge. With the appearance of the earth, awareness has a ground to stand upon. God's awareness of itself cannot stand in the unconscious waters, as those are fluid, moving, shifting, undifferentiated, with no stability and no boundaries. With consciousness, the separation of light from darkness, the mind makes distinctions. In the unconscious waters, there are no separations, only a vast and infinite ocean of potential. Without these boundaries and distinctions, the mind cannot individuate and realize itself. The earth functions as the mental image of the mind's formed thoughts, emerging out of the seas of unconscious waters, those undifferentiated frequency patterns and unformed ideations. In this movement, earth signifies the transition from mere ideation to actualization, from potential ground to operative ground. On the second day of creation, the separation of the waters, interpreted through the Hermetic law of correspondence, establishes the principle that the collective unconscious corresponds to the personal unconscious, and that the lower order reflects the higher. This correspondence provides a foundational assurance of the existence of divine order, even when the light of reason remains nascent and no stable ground has yet emerged upon which consciousness can securely operate. The principle of faith, symbolized in the separating firmament, serves as a metaphysical anchor, enabling the mind to sustain undifferentiated potential in a coherent form while trusting in an unseen order. Faith thus functions as the precursor to the crystallization of forms within ego consciousness, operating as the essential bridge between potentiality and actualization. Psychologically, when the mind tries to act directly on undifferentiated chaos, it collapses into overwhelm and anxiety. Faith is trust in an unseen order, allowing the mind to act without collapsing into chaos. Ultimately, faith helps the mind bypass fear and doubt and act regardless by trusting a higher order. Faith is temporary until the mind is sufficiently rational and has managed to cultivate higher faculties of reasoning, logic, rational intuition, and order. Imagine yourself trying to create a new life after a devastating heartbreak. Your mind drowns in chaotic waters, overwhelming emotions, stress, anxiety, negativity, not seeing the way out. The firmament, faith, is when you say, "Though I cannot see the way out yet, I trust that order exists, and it will reveal itself soon enough." It separates the unconscious waters from those above, archetypal lessons, meaning, to those below, personal emotions, story, personal myth, identity, and attachments. Only then, new land appears to stand upon. New identity, new beginning, new story. The verse concludes with the declaration, "And God saw that it was good." This pronouncement signifies the affirmation of the first day, which is deemed good due to the establishment of the principle of differentiation, the separation of light from darkness. This moment represents the inaugural act of the Logos and the acknowledgement of the law of mentalism, manifest through the operation of conscious intelligence. The second day was not acknowledged as good. This is because separation alone, without a stable ground, leaves tensions unresolved. Now, the act has been recognized as good because the separation produces stability, coherence, and something you can build upon. The emergence of dry land is consistent with the higher order,